I started studying the creator economy 3 years ago, and the reason I got so into it was because it felt so much different from the economy that I was told that existed. And I really wanted to figure out what was so different. How do we value these incredibly different ideas of what it means to work? And that's what led me to this concept of quantum economics, because I realized something in how we determine what's valuable. We don't actually use all the data, we only use part of it. And so we compress data down a whole bunch. And as creators, we typically do this by taking our audience makeup, right, and compressing them down into demographic metrics or audience size metrics, something that you can use to convey the value of your audience from one context into another and try to convert it into something like sponsorship dollars, right? And the problem with this model is that it doesn't actually capture the value of the people that we compress up into these little chunks of data. And so this has actually led us to completely miscalculate the prices of things in the creator economy. And this has been further muddled by things like venture capital, who has another completely different broken economic model, again, based on the same ideas of information compression and limiting access to money in stupid ways. I'll be honest. I don't agree with the way that most venture capitalists run their businesses, and I don't agree with actually like the industry of venture capital and how it's currently structured. I understand where it came from. I understand why people are going for it, but I think moving forward into the future, we need to really seriously evaluate that model and change it for the better, because man, there is a ton of money wasted in that industry because it's just not an accurate capture of the world. It's a self indulgent, self reflective system that feeds money back into itself. Anyway, moving on back to creator stuff. I think it's important for creators to understand how to value themselves in today's economy. And that is a very difficult thing to do. And I have a hard time doing it. And that was one of the things that, again, led me down this area of research, because I wanted to understand, how much am I worth in the open economy? I mean, I'd only had jobs before, right? And so trying to take like my salary, but then also like there's the insurance costs and all the taxes that get taken out. And okay, well, that means I need this much, but then I've got to, like, dude, that is a complicated math problem. And I love math, but we're asking everybody to make that calculation if they ever want to go into business for themselves. And what this does is it actually makes for a very inefficient market, because the people in the market have no idea of what their true market value is because of this information compression. And it gets worse because of how quickly everything is changing. And so people are having to learn more and more and more to keep up. And when you try to have a family or something, like, man, I got kids, like, it's tough to keep up with shit. You need to be able to find this balance. And, you know, if you want to advance in your career and you want to get ahead, but you've got to like check all these boxes, well, it's harder and harder to check those boxes because every of those boxes move a little further away. And the people in that position before don't recognize it because they experienced it at like one speed, but it's faster now. And so they don't realize that like every generation behind them, it gets faster. It's like a treadmill that keeps speeding up. And then like the people who finished on a lower speed were like, why are you having trouble on the treadmill? Like, just keep up with it. It's not that hard. Meanwhile, you're running like, you know, twice as fast as they were at that same point. Anyway, the point is that as creators, we need to really think differently about how to value ourselves. And so one of the things I've been working on is this experiment that can basically, instead of paying me for a product I create, which will come soon down the line. I've got several in the works, but I like having a way to pay me after I provided value. And that way I can just focus on helping people. I love helping people. I love having conversations. I love giving my opinions on various topics and problems. Probably a little too much, let's be honest. I will offer advice when it's not always requested. Working on that. Um, but it's something that like we just need to do better at. We need to give people more space. And as creators, we can really help people discover parts of themselves. We can build these long-term connections. And I want to showcase how we can do that by focusing on making money as a way to vote on continuation. And so basically, you find a creator you like, and instead of paying them for a product, you pay them because you want them to keep going. And I think we underestimate how important of an incentive that is. And we've created this rather greedy society because we've tried to nickel and dime everyone. And as creators, we are the lever that can push the economy back over into a generous economy. We have incredibly wide margins. All of my knowledge is in my head, and I just want to share it with the world. And so it's a matter of sitting in front of a camera and talking and not worrying too much about how much I ramble and getting it out on the internet and putting my ideas out there for people to hear. And it's tough. There's all sorts of fear that goes into it. It's super easy to overcomplicate it. It's great to procrastinate. Oh, well, I need the right equipment. I need the right this, that, the other. No, you need to share your ideas. And it doesn't actually matter too much if you're doing it on video, if you're doing it via text. I really worked hard over the last 3 years to get at least proficient with kind of all communication media, I guess. So, podcasting, YouTube, writing. I like to run the gamut because I want to push my ideas out to as wide an audience as possible. And I just have fun learning that stuff. So it's really helped me become a better communicator. In some ways, not so in others, but I am who I am. And what we can do is we can use the creator economy to showcase people that the world can be a good place. And so we should take it upon ourselves to focus on being as generous as possible with our time, attention, money, whatever resources you have, put it back into the world. And most importantly, we need to show the world what is valuable. In a quantum economy, the most valuable skill is knowing what's valuable. And ultimately, that comes down to a very internal question of what is valuable to you. If you can share that with the world, then the world will reward you. It's really inefficient at it right now, but I do promise you that better systems are coming for it. Focus on telling the world what you find valuable so that that's what we can continue doing, because that's how the world works. It's a lot easier if we just tell people what we find valuable. And that's what the core of quantum economics is. Its basis is that people tell each other what's valuable based on their observations of what's happening around them in the economy. And we've just severely overcomplicated that. So as a creator, focus on what you value and share that with the world, and the world will take care of you in return. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.